Καλησπέρα από μένα. Λέγομαι Nicolai Σαράτης. Ενδεχομένως να με γνωρίζετε. Είμαι ο Product Manager για τα προϊόντα για τη Zyxel στην Digital SIMA. Και σήμερα θα κάνουμε μία, ας το πούμε, αναφορά, μια παρουσίαση για την καινούργια σειρά για την καινούργια σειρά firewall της Zyxel, τη σειρά H. Θα κάνουμε μια πρώτη προσέγγιση, να το πω έτσι, όσον αφορά τι καινούργιο έχει να μας παρουσιάσει. Μια σύγκριση σε σχέση με τις παλιότερες σειρές, τη Flex και τα ATP. Και αντίστοιχα πώς αυτό το πράγμα μπορεί να δουλέψει και στο σύννεφο και πώς γενικότερα υλοποιείται. Δηλαδή και μια παρουσίαση, να το πω έτσι, το πώς πρακτικά μπορεί κάποιος να το ανεβάσει στο σύννεφο που λέμε. Τέλος, θα γίνει ένα demo από και θα παρουσιαστεί και ένα demo αναφορικά με τη συγκεκριμένη σειρά και στο τέλος θα υπάρχουν κάποιες ερωτήσεις ή κάποιες απορίες, αν φυσικά υφίστανται. Δεν θα σας κρατήσω άλλο. Θα παρουσιάσω λίγο τον κύριο τον Michel Nicolai, που είναι Senior Regional Sales Engineer και Team Leader στην Ευρώπη. Νομίζω ότι Nicolai, are you here with us?
Yes.
The floor is yours and please continue.
Thank you, Sarantis, for the warm introduction, and thank you for having us to present our nice products. I'd like to thank Digital SIMA for the invitation to do this webinar to your customer base. Maybe people from Greece have seen me before or heard my name before. We had a very nice event in October last year where I did a presentation for the Zyxel products. And for today, I will focus more on the new firewall series, or firewall H series. If you have any questions during the session, feel free to use the chat function into the Zoom application. My colleague will try to answer them immediately in the chat. If you are not happy with English, then please put it into Greek. Then Sarantis will help us to do the translation and give you a proper answer to your question. Yeah, so if you have any questions, just feel free and use the chat option within the Zoom application. So, as I said, or as Sarantis already introduced myself, my name is Nicolai. I'm the regional sales engineer for Zyxel and the team leader for all sales engineers. And for today, we put up an agenda. We talk about, of course, our new firewall platform 8 series. We talk about the hardware updates, the software updates that we bring into the platform. Then I will perform a live demo to see what the difference is between the two platforms, and I'll give you a quick roadmap update what is upcoming. So that's the agenda for today. First of all, I'd like to emphasize how important security is for your business, because a lot of people think that security with a proper firewall and all the licenses on top is something for enterprise, for banks, for large enterprises. But the thing is that the business where we are in the small and medium businesses, the amount of money that people can spend is not as high as in enterprises. So for, let's say, the attackers, the SMB market is a much easier target to play around with. And therefore, firewalls are really key to put in your customer's environment. as I said, we have our firewall, and on top are software services. But during the presentation, I would really emphasize on those security services that we have on top. Because please remember, if you want to secure your property and at the border, let's take your country as an example, then if you put in a firewall, and I'll use that always as a metaphor. So if you want to protect your country, then obviously you want to see the countries that are coming into your country and moving out, the amount of trucks, the buses that are coming in. Are the buses red or green? Maybe you have a rule for that only green buses are allowed, like a firewall. You allow certain traffic in and certain traffic you block. But is that enough? Is it enough that you only check on the traffic, on the car, on the lorry, on the buses? Is it not key that you want to see what people are carrying into the car? What is in the boot? What are people carrying in their pockets while they're driving on the bus and crossing your border? And those kinds of detail in a standard firewall, this will not be checked. So in this case, if you want to do a proper security and you want to do all inside and outside, you need some kind of extra security on top. And therefore, security is key, and especially if you are gonna use our new H series. For the people that are already familiar with our product before, they look quite similar, as you see here. The box that you see here is similar as what we have gave you before. It's the same bezel and the red frame. And also we try to have the numbering, the model name, more or less the same. So that's easy for you if you're doing an upgrade. For instance, for a customer who is now having a USG 100 or a Flex 100, you know that the Flex 100H is the successor on this one. So that's why we make it as simple as possible. So this is the lineup. We start with a Flex H or Flex HP. The difference between those is one single port, because that additional port is also built with PoE power. I will explain you a little bit later what you can do with this additional PoE port. If you want to move up to a little bit more power, to have more bandwidth, to have more faster features, then obviously you need to scale up to a higher model. So for the 50, then you go to the 100. They the same box, although the number of ports are different. You see on the 50 we have 5 ports. On the 100 we move to 8 ports. And you see those ports are still 1 gig. The big difference between this one and our previous series is here all the interfaces are flexible to program. So on the 5 ports, for example, you can do 1 WAN interface and 4 LAN interfaces, or a mix of those. Even 4 WAN interfaces we can support and 1 LAN interface. So it's up to your convenience how to use this. So 50, 100, then the 200 is there. The 200 you see also H and HP, so 2 different models. And then we shift to more high-end products. You see here that we have a USG FLEX 500H and even a 700H we have available. The only thing is we made a little bit of an error in the model naming, because we call it 500H and 700H, but both come with PoE ports as a standard. So officially they should be named 500 HP and 700 HP. But okay, it is what it is. So this is our complete lineup and how they look. If you look at the numbers, then I have another figure here. You see that the throughput is increasing while the numbers go up. Always a good start where you want to, for your advice, is check on the bandwidth that your customer has to the internet, and then check on that one. So first of all, the firewall throughput, but then of course also the UTM and the VPN throughput. Because you see, if we do some encryption with VPNs, or we do more investigation on your data, so we're looking in the pockets as well and in the boot of the car, then we need some more time to check it. And then you see on the fourth line that the UTM throughput is lower than the firewall throughput, because we need some time to check all this. So if, let's say, your customer has a 1 gig connection and he wants to have a good throughput, then the advice from us is look at least at a 100H or 100 HP, because it offers the 1 gig throughput on the UTM functionality. If you look through the table, then you see some other nice things in these models. You see that the 50, the 100 and 200 are fanless. So they are completely silent. So if you want to put it in a place where noise is important, yeah, then look at those models. Another thing is that from now on, the 50 is a full UTM gold product. That means that in the previous model, we could only support content filtering, but now on the current 50, we have the full package, the same as we carry for the 100, 200, 5, and 700. Okay, so let's go more in detail on the hardware, because we make a major change in the hardware, and especially on the interface. These are the topics that I want to highlight. The first one is multi-gig. And multi-gig is a key factor to upgrade your link speed, because the standard to nowadays was 1 gigabit of throughput. And for a lot of customers, 1 gig is still enough. But what we see that the demand on speed on both on the LAN side as on the WAN side is increasing. And the smartest update we could do is move from a 1 gig Ethernet port to a multi-gig port. So in that case, we can go up to 2.5 or even 5 gigabits of speed to the network, and keep the existing copper wire. We don't need to go to any fiber connection. So this is ideal for the new upcoming Wi-Fi 6E and 7 products that also require some new performance connectivity. So multi-gig is key, and therefore I have some examples here. You see a scenario how we can use multi-gig. We can use it to the WAN side. Yeah, if you do it to the WAN side, you can see that we have the opportunity to use the 2.5 gig for VPN connectivity, and even on some models on the 700H, we even give the option for a 10G connection, copper or fiber, to your cloud environment. If you look at the LAN connection, you could do the same thing, of course, because as I mentioned before, the ports are, universal. So you can take them to the LAN side, but also to the WAN side. So if you need the ports, the 2.5 or the 10G connection on both sides or on one side, it's up to you how to use it. And here you see a typical example that an access point is connecting to the PoE port, and there is a link to a core 10G switch that is delivered into the network. So that's a typical multi-gig connection. And how does it look like on the ports, on the devices? You see them here on the 700. Yeah, the first two are 1 gig ports. Then you have 2 multi-gig ports, and those can be PoE powered as well. And on the left, you see the 2 SFP plus fiber links that you can connect to that unit as well. Yes, those are additional ports. It's not let's say, a dual personality port, as is quite common with our switches. Then you see the 500 on the left bottom. Yeah, 1 gig, 2 gig, 2.5 gig on the PoE ports, and you see the 2.5 gig ports PoE on the 200 as well. Yeah, so those are the products, how they are look at the front, how they look from the software side. Yeah, we have a nice view. This is the view that you can have in our cloud platform, and then you can see which ports are occupied and what is the link speed to the device that is attached. So this is about the multi-gig connection that we have on the device. Then I move over to the power of the Ethernet, because power over Ethernet can be very helpful. The power budget that we offer is a maximum of 30 watts. It's consumption mode that we offer. And you see that on the 50, 100, and 200, we offer a single PoE port. It is labeled in yellow. And on the 500 and the 700, we have 2 ports with 30 watts of PoE. Again, we can use them both on the LAN side or on the WAN side. If you use it on the WAN side, you see it on the picture on the right-hand side. You see the first picture in there, it's a small LTE router that we can connect directly to the firewall and can be, let's say, installed as a backup for when your primary connection is failing, for instance, that you can move to your mobile connection. Another one you can use on the LAN side, of course. Most of people put our nice firewall in a 19-inch rack cabinet, but that is all metal. So if you want to have some Wi-Fi connectivity near your cabinet, then it's nice maybe to have the access point outside of the cabinet, but it can be powered out of the firewall. Yeah, so that's the idea how you can use it. Again, you can see it in the firewall itself. This is again a screenshot out of our cloud system. You can see when the port is connected by a PoE device, and on the color you see that the connection speed in this case is 2.5 gig, multi-gig in this case. If you want to reset it or do a power cycle, you have also the option to do that out of your interface. We also already talked about multi-gig PoE, and of course, then we have to talk about throughput, because throughput is key in this case. We see that the speed is going up, and you see also that we put some figure on the device of how many users can be attached to the device. You see the numbers here. You see on the Flex 50, we say 15 users, but we say those 15 users has to be, let's say, office users. So people that browse the internet, check their email, and those kind of things. So not heavy internet users. Because you can imagine that if you have customers using this firewall with 15, let's say, graphical users that are making 8K videos, then this will not be sufficient. Yeah, but that is an average that we label so that you have an estimate how to position the products in front of your customer. So again, here you see the throughputs again, and also the connections in there. Here you see, and it's also good to know, that as of the Flex 200 and higher, you see it on the last row, only those models are rack mountable. So if you want to put the 50 or the 100 into a rack, please make sure that you have some kind of platter where you can put it on, because there are no ears that can mount them in a 19-inch space. Yeah, so if that is key for you, then please look at the 200 and higher. Then we have another new item. It is the LED indicator that is on top, the usage on this one. We have the LEDs here, the power sys LED, where you can see when it's powered up, and when it is upgrading, yeah, then it's flashing red. But also you see the PoE LEDs in there to see if it is PoE connected or not. Then we also have a user-defined LED, and that is an LED that you can program as you wish. And here are some items how you can program it. For instance, if there's a firmware available, then you can set that as an event, and then this LED is blinking green, and then you know there's a firmware update available. But this is a small item. More important is on the front panel, we have a reboot and a reset button. These are almost the same as that you've been used to on our previous model. The reboot is reboot, yeah, nothing changed. You're just rebooting with the same configuration again, and then it starts up again. But the reset button has two functions. And the thing is, if you, on the previous model, if you press the reset button, then it went to the system default. And that's fine, yeah, because then you are empty and you can start all over again. But what we have done now as well, if you hold it longer than 7 seconds, and you wait until it's blinking red, it goes back to factory default. That means that also all other configuration files, certificates, signature files are being destroyed and emptied. So then the unit is really clean, and is really going back into factory defaults, because this was a function that was not in our previous series. And this is something that our customers requested, that you could bring back the device into factory default. And that is now available. So that is for, let's say, the hardware parts from the outside, what we've changed. Of course, we changed also a lot of things on the software side. Yeah, first of all, we improved our high resilience network that we can do. We have the link aggregation in there. We have the high availability in there. You see here that we can make it completely resilient. The lag interface will give us, let's say, the reliability, but also it can provide us additional speed as well, where we can link up multiple ports for a higher bandwidth, or for, let's say, a backup path in case of one connection is failing. Of course, with Zyxel, we also offer the high availability. It is still free of charge, so there's no license involved to use this kind of functionality within the device. So it's not included in the license. No, it is in the box by default. The only thing you need to remember, the solution that we support is active passive. You can say it as a benefit or a disadvantage. It is how you look at it. We think from Zyxel that it is a positive thing that we have it active passive, because this is more price effective. Because what you can do is, when you take two devices and both have a license, then what happens if you put them in device HA, then the license of the passive one will be stacked on top of the one of the active one. And that is a big benefit because you only need to pay for a single license because there's only one device active in the configuration. So if your active device fails, then it moves over to the passive one, and then the license will be moved over and you can leverage from the license there. This will be done full automatic when you set up this kind of configuration. Please remember that this will only work with two same models. So two 200Hs or 500Hs, but the model and the firmware version should be the same. Otherwise, we cannot provide you the HA connection. Yeah, this HA has been available as of operating system 1.31. We are already on 134 at the moment, so it's been there already for some time. And here you see a screenshot of the on-premise device, how you can see how the active passive is being shown. Yeah, so you can also be alerted when it's down, and then you can take action on this. Another thing that we add on to this firewall is a new type of VPN connection. It is called Tailscale. And Tailscale is a new type of VPN connection where your device can be, let's say, a node into a VPN network. The only thing is the management is Tailscale. So you need to go to that platform, and in that platform, you can set up to 100 devices, and you can connect them into your VPN network. It is free of charge up to 3 users and 100 devices. If you want to add in more users or more devices, then you need to purchase additional license through Tailscale. The big benefit of the Tailscale connectivity is that you can use this very easily behind a net configuration. So even if you have 2 or 3 nets in front of your firewall, it doesn't matter because the VPN is set up from the firewall outside to the Tailscale server, and there it will authenticate and the connections will be done from there. So that is very convenient to use it like this. Another functionality in this one is that you can use a lot of different kind of devices into your Tailscale network. The support of operating system and devices are huge. The Tailscale can be used especially for power users or small businesses. It's currently only supported on our H series. Yeah, we use the WireGuard protocol on this one, and on security and speed level, it is similar as working on IPsec. So it's really safe to use and also very secure as well. Another benefit is that the client agent can be a lot of kind of operating system, Windows, macOS, iOS, Android, Linux, but also all kinds of devices you can add on. So if you have a NAS device or maybe a streaming device like a Fire TV from Amazon or an Apple TV from Apple, then also those kind of devices can be used in your VPN network. So that's something new, and really want to emphasize to have a look at it and how to use this. Another thing that we still continue, of course, is continue on the existing VPN protocols that you have been familiar with us before, especially on the IPsec and the SSL connection. They are available also on these models. The only thing I have to say that we have had to drop the L2TP connection the L2TP connection, that was a free VPN connection that was very popular from Windows devices because it was free of charge. But Zyxel decided to stop the support of this type of connection. The reason is because Microsoft also has decided not to support LTTP from their services anymore because they say it is not secure enough. So there also the reason for us to say, okay, we skip it. And if you want to leverage from another type of VPN, then you can still use our other VPN connections that we have available. A few ones are paid. Yeah, our secure extender for IPsec and for SSL, it is a paid client license. But if you want to use OpenVPN, then you can use the same SSL profile and use a free OpenVPN client to connect. But we also offer scripting files that you can use. So if you have a Windows or a Mac or an iOS device, then you can use this script to use the built-in VPN connection of the operating system. The benefit, of course, it is free of charge. Yeah, the bad side on this is it doesn't give you a lot of log information if the connection is failing or the connection is slow. You cannot really check what is the root course on this one. So, and if you have a paid client, we have log files, and then we can do more of an investigation. So those are the VPN parts that we are using in our new 8 series. Also on our 8 series, we have the secure Wi-Fi controller built-in. A lot of people say, yeah, but you have your cloud already with Nebula, where you can do your Wi-Fi configuration. True. Yeah, no problem. You can still use it like this. But in some environments and some customers, they prefer to have the full management locally. So in this kind of scenario, we can offer the same kind of product, but then you can use the controller part there as well and use our Nebula Pro Wi-Fi devices to connect and to be managed through the controller. The only thing you need to remember if you do this, there is a restriction on the number of APs. So, and here you see a list on top, you see a table. By default, we support up to 8 access points. So if you don't need to monitor or to configure more, no additional license is needed. If 8 is not enough, then on some devices you can upgrade to a higher number from 12 up to 520 on our 700H. Please remember, if you want to go to this amount, you need the license, the secure Wi-Fi license for this. It is also included in our full security pack license. I will tell you a little bit more in a bit what is in there, but also in our full pack, this license is available. But I could imagine if people only wants to buy the product for the AP management, then maybe they don't want to have the other software packages because they have another device for that. So in that case, you can only have to purchase the AP license. We call it the secure Wi-Fi license. There is only a limitation on the number of on the models, I have to say, not on the number of APs, because we already discussed this, but we have only a restricted number of access points that we support from our H series. At the moment, we have 30 models They are listed in this table. By the way, I will share this presentation with Digital SIMA, and they can distribute out to you as an audience. So you can check it later on if your AP is there. But what you can see is that the older Wi-Fi 5 models are not supported anymore. The only one Wi-Fi 5 is our WAC 500H. That is a special device for hospitality, and all others are WAX or WBE devices that are supported by our controller. Yeah, so that is the software part of the H series. Then you might wonder, but now it is completely hybrid, isn't it? For people that remember our legacy product before, it is, or you use the product on premise and you do the local configuration on the local interface, or you move the product into Nebula in our cloud environment and you do the configuration there. Those were the two options. Later on, we gave you a third option to put the device that is on premise to have a, let's say, a solution in the middle. We called it monitoring mode. So we kept the device on premise, but the monitoring can be done already in Nebula. And the biggest advantage in this case is that you could manage the software, the firmware on the device, that if a new firmware comes through, that you could deploy it from a central interface. So that was the original setup, and we couldn't make it otherwise because this platform is being developed before we developed our cloud solution. But now when we're starting with H, we could leverage from this and we could offer the good things from both worlds. So therefore, we build it now hybrid. So hybrid management means that the device is running standalone with a local configuration, and on top we have a cloud interface where the configuration is synced to. So what happens there is that the basic setup and basic configurations, and let's say 90% of our customer base to set up the network, we can completely run it out of Nebula. But in certain circumstances, we need some features that we don't offer in Nebula because we consider it as a more advanced feature that, let's say, 90% of our customers don't use. And we're trying to keep Nebula as simple and as easy as possible. But we don't want to lock out those features to you as a customer. So therefore, we still have the option to go from the cloud interface to the local interface and do the configuration there for those additional features that you want to use. So therefore, we bring both worlds together in this one. Yeah. So configuration settings are synced, but the main configuration is on the on-premise device. So the onboarding is very simple. If you look at the onboarding procedure, you can run through three options. Follow the initial setup, the on-premise one. You can do it manually through the Nebula portal, or we can do it from the QR code on the device when you have the device on the package or on the device itself. Yeah, what you can see is the sticker on the back of the device. On the newer models, there is a dedicated password already on the sticker, like this example. And then if you want to log in, you have to use this password and then you can change it. For older models, it is still 1, 2, 3, 4 to access the device. So on premise, you do admin 1, 2, 3, 4 or the password, and then you do the initial setup. You go through, you select the port, and you do a connection test if the network is there, and then after the test, you see that the connection is there, and then you can register your device onto our platform. Yeah, so that is the way to do it on the on-premise configuration. If you do it in Nebula, then in Nebula you can create a new organization like this, and with the organization, a new site. And when the site is set, then you can add in devices. And then you can select your device, put in your MAC and serial number. And again, then if you go through it, it does register, and then you can set up it to the right organization and bring it online. Yeah, like this, you can do it completely manually out of NCC and then put it in. At the end, there is a question if you want to enable your security pack or not. And most of people, of course, they want to do it because they want to leverage from that. And then the last question you get that if you allow to put in the new firmware on there to make sure that you have the latest features. If you have done this, then you have an overview to see what has happened and everything is set, and you can use your firewall and to do the configuration. The last one is through your mobile phone with the QR code. Yeah, then you install your Nebula, free Nebula app. And then when you open it up, you create a new organization. You put that in, say create, put the site name in there. And then if you continue, you can scan or QR code. It will detect what kind of device it is. And also here you can enable your license. And when your license is enabled, then the firmware is being questioned and how to connect it. When you're all done, then you enter the dashboard completely and everything is set. Yeah, you can check in the device after the registration if all the applications have been activated. Yeah, you can check that. And also there is a possibility to do the subnet planning. This is very nice if you are using this into Nebula, because it will check the other the other sites in your organization, what their LAN subnets are, and then it will hint to the most perfect subnet that can be used. For instance, if you're making VPNs later on. Yeah, so you can check that and then you can finish and the product is being set up. Let's say if you want to upgrade to H series, we have the possibility through the upgrade to have a migration in there. We offer a configuration converter online where you can upload your old, let's say, Nebula FLEX configuration into the cloud, and then we will provide a new configuration file for your H series. You can find this tool online. It's on convert.cloud.zyxel.com, and there is a tool where you can select your model, and then it will do the configuration for you and you can upload it. So the last bit to explain to you, especially on the license management, because the H series comes in, let's say, 2 different versions. It comes in an entry defense pack or in a gold security pack. It's one or the other. So when you buy a 50 H or a 50 HP, at that point, you can still decide if you want to have an entry defense pack or a gold security pack. Of course, I would advise you to always take the gold security pack because it provides you all the additional applications that can help you to make sure that all things that you don't want to have in your network comes into your network. So all the tools are there. The sandboxing, the zero-day protection is there. The reputation filter is there. Web filtering, anti-malware, IPS or intrusion detection prevention is there. But you also see the reporting tool for Secure Reporter is in there in this license. So the complete package is there. In the entry defense, we give you, let's say, yeah, I think the most important license for free, I can say, because the reputation filter is really key. I don't know if people from the audience has recently been in a security incentive from Microsoft, but even Microsoft says the most vulnerable part on security at the customer is the customer itself. Yeah, the user behind the firewall. Because yeah, the users, they get emails, and those emails, they are looking so nice. They are from their local bank or whatever. You can't see the difference from an original email. And then there is some nice, and if you want to take action on this ad, then they say, press this link here. And here it is highlighted, but the hyperlink behind it, you can't see. So you want to engage with this and you press on it, but you don't know where you press on it. The link behind it is probably being scanned through the reputation filter. And if this kind of email is, let's say, ransomware, then we make sure that it is protected by the reputation filter, because that is one of the biggest vulnerabilities that you can have on your network. So therefore we put it in the entry defense pack. Of course, if you want to do a full management of your network, I definitely want to advise to sell the gold pack to your customer. Yeah. The difference that we do as a vendor from other vendors, we are very open with the vendors that we are cooperating with. Yeah, there are a lot of vendors saying, yeah, our software is the best. Of course, they say that software is the best, but how can we see this? Yeah, and we from Zyxel are very open to this. So we say that our sandboxing is from Gen or from Avaya. So you can go to the website and you can search the internet on the quality of this brand, and you can see that all the brands are listed at least in top 3 or top 5, and there are, let's say, the best in their own category. So that's therefore we use this. So this is what I want to highlight on our new 8 series. And we have some couple of minutes left. So I'd really like to show you how the new interface looks like on the new 8 series. So let me prepare my device. If you have a few moments, then I can show you this. Wait a second. So yes. So hopefully now everyone can see my screen of Nebula. This is the cloud view of the firewall. You see here it's USG FLEX 800 HP. So this is the cloud version, how it looks like. Yeah, the configuration, how the port handling and everything. You see everything is there. But as I said, if I miss something and you cannot find this in this configuration, because if I press configure, and then you see that these are the options that are listed in the Nebula at the moment. But let's see how it is on the on-premise side. Of course, I can go to the local interface on the public IP number, if that is allowed, of course. But what is always possible is you have a tab here in the middle called Remote Configurator. And if you press this, then we create a, let's say, a reverse tunnel to this device. And then it operates as if you are directly connected to the device. So I now log in, and this is the local interface. This is the dashboard of the device. Yeah, again, you see the model here that is connected, the firmware version that's running, how the interfaces are connected, what is the speed of those connections. We have even Nebula connection here as well, so the sync is there. And you see here in the sidebar that a lot of the options that are being set on the previous models, so on the legacy Flex and ATP series, is quite similar. So the licensing is there, the networking, the VPN, the security policy, everything is there, only, yeah, it is how the design is a little bit different. But it's much faster. It's much faster because if I go to security policy and policy control, yeah, the screens go much faster. This is my firewall settings. But instead of moving back to this menu, I now can use this menu as well. Yeah, so if I want to direct go to session control, I can do it from here. Or if I want to go to maintenance, I can do it from here. So the response and how to use the interface is much faster than before. Yeah, the new items that are in there is, for instance, here on the VPN, IPsec and SSL, that's quite familiar. We have done this before, but this is the tail scale option. Yeah, and here you can set up the tail scale to put the authentication key in there, connect to the platform, and then you can connect also your device into a tail scale network. Yeah, what you see more, security policy, objects, yeah, addresses, services, zones, schedules is all there, but they're also in Nebula, because if I switch over and I go to configure, and here we are, objects. And what we have an object, zone, address, service, schedule. So all those items are exactly the same. Yeah. So if something changes here in Nebula, it will change in the on-premise configuration and vice versa. But remember, the on-premise, if you do it there, it will happen instantly. Yeah, as if you were working locally. Yeah, and if you do it in Nebula, there's a small delay. No problem, but then you know, of course. What you need to know, and that's important to have this information, is if you are not, let's say, confident that maybe those two platforms are out of sync, then we have an option for you to make sure that you can sync it yourself. Yeah, just in those cases where you have any doubts. I can say 99% it will work seamlessly. But if you have any doubt, you can win that 1% back, but go back to devices, to your firewall, and next to the tab where you do the remote connection, you have another tab. This tab called Config Override. If you press this and do override, then we warn you that the configuration of your on-premise will override your Nebula configuration. This cannot be reversed. So therefore, it is not click, 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 and then, yes, it's done. No, you get a warning. You have to type over this serial number. You have to put it in there. And if it's the correct serial number, only then you can confirm it. Yeah, but only if you don't feel competent about this to do this. Yeah, so this is the view and the difference that we have among those two platforms. But you see, it is quite similar. Yeah, here and how we have it here on the local interface. Yeah, the configuration part is here down. The monitoring part is up here, where you can see the statuses of your security, the statuses of your network, and also the status of your VPN connections. Yeah, so those are the differences how we operate in this new 8 series. So let's get back to my original presentation, because we have a few minutes left and I want to share a few things with you to make sure that you know everything. We did the demo, if you've seen it. I also want to show you that we are still developing on our new 8 series. Yeah, this is my last slide, by the way, on the feature set. The last update we've done is the one on the left-hand side. Or I have to say that's the one that's upcoming. That will be done on July 28th. Then we will provide you the July updates. And then you see that in October, we will bring in even more features. And you see that one item comes back more and more is integration with Entra ID. So you can already use Entra ID for Nebula to enter into our cloud platform, but we're also going to use Entra ID for VPN authentication, for Wi-Fi authentication, and for all kinds of other authentication that you might need. So in that way, we are moving at the moment. Yeah, so this is our schedule. It is not 100% fixed, because sometimes we have to tweak it a little bit, but then you have an idea on the development on our 8 series. So this is from my side. I don't know if there are any questions. I've seen that my colleague Dimitri already also offered some interesting links as well for even more information. I don't know if other people have any questions related to my presentation. Feel free to use the chat. I don't know if it's possible to open up microphones if people want to use their voice. I don't know if that's possible. I asked that to one of the team members from Digital SIMA, if that is possible or not, I don't know.
Yes, Michel, it is possible.
I don't know if there is anyone that wants to ask a question. You can do it even in Greek if that's more convenient, because Sarant is on this as well, so he can easily translate as well. Anyone? I think there's not many questions. Okay. So then I want to thank everyone, all attendees, for joining this session. Thank you, Digital SIMA, for making this happen. And hopefully we meet again, maybe face-to-face or in another session like this webinar. So again, thank you for joining, and yeah, have a great weekend.
It seems there are a couple of questions appearing.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. Let's say.
Show must go on.
Yeah, what I see it. Yeah, the configuration override. Is it possible to revert? No, it is not. This is one way you could do it. There is a possible to do a backup on the local before, and then you could go back to and restore the previous configuration, but only from a on-premise view, yeah, not from Nebula, because the on-premise is key. Okay, will we be getting a conference recording via a link? I do think so, because we record this. So I presume that this link will be distributed or can be viewed later on for people that are interested. So I don't think that is any problem. Any other questions? Thank you, Pavios, for your question. Anyone else? I think that's it. Okay, so let's close it for today. And again, thank you all for anticipating and for listening to our beautiful H story.
Thanks, Michel. It was great.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, Michel, for always sharing such as helpful info with us. Σας ευχαριστούμε όλους που συμμετείχατε σήμερα στο webinar. Να σας θυμίσω ότι μέχρι το τέλος του μήνα τρέχουμε ένα πρόμο αναφορικά με τις αγορές Zyxel που υπερβαίνουν τα 150 ευρώ σε αξία. Τα παίρνετε πίσω σε επιστροφές με το κρυπτονόμισμά μας, το Dcoin. Σας ευχαριστούμε όλους για τη συμμετοχή. Ελπίζω να πήρατε τις πληροφορίες που θέλατε και η παρουσίαση να σας μείνει ούτως ώστε να σας φανεί και χρήσιμη. Ευχαριστούμε πολύ. Thank you, Michel. Thank you all. Χαιρετούμε.
Yep.
Γεια σας.
Γεια σας.
Bye bye.